Hare Krishna invocation prayers, please.
Hare Krishna Babu, can I?
Go ahead.
Om Ajnanatrimantasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yene Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitanam Yene Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaham Dadati Swayam Padamtikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavacha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana रघुनाथं वितं तं साजीवं साद्वितं सवधूतं परिजनं सहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य दिव्यं श्री राधा कृष्ण पदं सहागना ललिता श्री विशाखा वितं च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपिसा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानु सुत देवी प्रणामी हरि प्रिये वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधु एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधारा श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। हरे कृष्ण। थैंक यू।
Hare Krishna, thank you all for coming. So today we will first aim to finish Canto 2, Chapter 10, verses 10 to 46, and we'll finish this unit number 7 as well as finish Canto 2 today. And next class on March 1st, you all will be doing the Unit 7 presentations. And then from following Sunday, 8th of March, we will start revising Nectar of Devotion. Towards the end of the class, I will also show you the YouTube channel that we have created for all the recordings that we have, and I will give you access for all of that. And time permitting, I will try to answer some inquiries, although I have more inquiries than what we can cover in our today's class, so I will answer the rest of the inquiries in subsequent classes. So let's continue from Canto 2, Chapter 10, verse 10 onwards. So we discussed at our last class the 10 subject matters of Srimad Bhagavatam. Today we will discuss Sarga, the primary creation by the Lord, and visarga, the secondary creation by Brahmaji. Now today what we are going to discuss, we will not get into technical details. We will cover in brief at a high level. It's a very technical discussion and probably heavy discussion. So we will try to cover at a high level. I will try to answer as much as is possible, but understand this is a slightly difficult subject matter to understand and requires some purification also. So we'll understand the visual I have shown you earlier, that from Krishna comes Mahavishnu, from Mahavishnu comes Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and Mahavishnu also provides the material elements. The joint karma of all the jivas is infused into Mahat Tattva. Time is also manifested, and all jivas are made to take birth in the material world. So all the jiva, they are sleeping in Mahavishnu's womb, and with the glance of Mahavishnu, all the material creation is set into process. Then the controlling demigods, the 10 controlling demigods are also manifested for the controlled living entities. And then the universal form also get manifested. So I am giving a very high level, and we will go into the details for what I just described at a high level. So part 2 is verses 10 to 35. Title is Sarga, creation of the Virat Rupa. So Sarga means primary creation by the Lord. So verse 10 describes the first Purusha, Mahavishnu, expands to Garbhodakshai Vishnu, and Garbhodakshai Vishnu is lying on the Garbhodaka ocean. Shivangi, 10 and 11 translations.
Hare Krishna. Text 10. After separating the different universes, the gigantic universal form of the Lord, Mahavishnu, which came out of the causal ocean, the place of appearance for the first Purushavatara, entered into each of the separate universes, desiring to lie on the created transcendental water, Garbhodaka. Text 11. That Supreme Person is not impersonal, and therefore is distinctively a Nara, or person. Therefore, the transcendental water created from the Supreme Nara is known as Nara. And because he lies down on that water, he is known as Narayana.
So you have seen the visual from before that from Mahavishnu's pores, there are these bubbles coming out, and there are infinite universes manifesting from Mahavishnu. And each of the universe, there is one Garbhodakshai Vishnu. So I'll show you the visual on the screen. So this is Mahavishnu, and each of these bubbles are universes. So I've shown you one universe. So this is our universe. And each of these bubbles are infinite universes. And each universe has a Garbhodakshai Vishnu, like how we see here on the top, on the bottom left corner. There is Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshai Vishnu on the bottom left corner. And each universe, you can see in the visual, there are slight visuals of Garbhodakshai Vishnu given. Each universe has a Garbhodakshai Vishnu. So the water in which he is lying is created from the body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Nara means water, and Ayana means lying down. Therefore, he is called Narayan. Mayank, verse 12 translation.
Sorry, Prabhuji, which
Canto 2, chapter 10, verse 12. Nitya, you can read for the time being.
Yes, Prabhu. One should definitely know that all material ingredients, activities, times and modes, and the living entities who are meant to enjoy them all exist by his mercy only. And as soon as he does not care for them, everything becomes non-existent.
So dravyam means material elements. Karma means activities, and kala means time, and swabhava jiva means the living entity. So all these terms are there in the Sanskrit. So understand the creation is happening. I'm soon going to show you visuals for all these. So all these above various elements, they exist because of the connection with the Lord. So material elements exist, karma exists, kala exists, and the jiva, they all exist. Nitya, verse 12, purport.
Yes, Prabhu. The living entities are the enjoyers of the material ingredients, time, modes, etc., because they want to lord it over the material nature. The Lord is the supreme enjoyer, and the living entities are meant to assist the Lord in his enjoyment and thus participate in the transcendental enjoyment of everyone. The enjoyer and the enjoyed both participate in enjoyment, but deluded by the illusionary energy, the living entities want to become the enjoyer like the Lord, although they are not meant for such enjoyment. The jivas, the living entities, are mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita as the Lord's superior nature or para prakriti, and so also it is mentioned in the Vishnu Purana. Therefore, the living entities are never the Purushas or the factual enjoyers. As such, the spirit of enjoyment by the living entity in the material world is false. In the spiritual world, the living entities are pure in nature, and therefore they are associated in the enjoyment of the Supreme Lord. In the material world, the spirit of enjoyment of the living entities by the dint of their own actions, karma, gradually fades by the laws of nature, and thus the illusory energy dictates in the ears of the conditioned souls that they should become one with the Lord. This is the last snare of the illusory energy. When the last illusion is also cleared off by the mercy of the Lord, the living entity again becomes free and stated in its original position, and thus becomes actually liberated. For this attainment of liberation from the material clutches, the Lord creates the material world, maintains it for some time, 1,000 years of his measurement as stated in the previous verse, and then again annihilates it by his will. The living entities are therefore completely dependent on the mercy of the Lord, and all the so-called enjoyments by scientific improvement are crushed into dust when the Lord decides.
So the last snare of Maya is to make the jiva think to merge with the Lord. So we read in the purport that jiva wants to lord it over the material nature. Actually, the jiva is meant to assist the Lord in his enjoyment. But in illusion, we all think I am the enjoyer. So verse number 13 explains the jiva created from the body of the Supreme Lord. Matan, 13 and 14 translations.
Hare Krishna. Verse 13. The Lord, while lying on his bed of mystic slumber, generated the seminal symbol golden in Q through eternal energy out of his desire to manifest variety of living entity from himself alone.
Through his external energy, not the internal energy. Read again. Read 13 again, please.
Through external energy out of his desire to manifest varieties of living entities from himself alone. Text 14. Just hear from me how the potency of the Lordship divides 1 into 3, called the controlling entity, the controlled entities, and the material bodies in the manner mentioned above.
So all these are manifestations of the Lord. So three items, he explained in the verse, 3 items that jiva come from the body. So there are these 3 items, the controlling entities, meaning Adi Daivam, meaning the controlling demigods. Then Adhyatma means the control living entities, meaning we all. And the third item is Adi Bhutam, means the material bodies, distinguishes the controller and the controlled. Questions, comments, realizations so far?
Prabhu, what is the seminal symbol golden in hue? That's the material cosmos?
Correct. Shivangi.
Prabhuji, which is the chapter where we do that chart in full? Is it in Canto 3?
Which chart are you referring to?
The flow chart that you used to show us with the
With the
different
creation?
processes. Yeah.
Yeah, so that will come up in Canto 3, Chapter 5. I mean, I have already shown in our previous class, I think, or one of the previous class. When we were discussing Canto 2, Chapter 5. Yeah, when we were revising the Unit 6, I had shown the visual. It will come up in Canto 3, Chapter 5. Some part of it I will show again today.
Okay.
Sure.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
So from the subtle items, gross items manifest. So subtle means they are very fine as well as they are very powerful. So I will mention that upfront that this creation discussion is very, very technical. It is very difficult to understand. So spirituality, if we try to understand with our material experience, we're going to hit a wall. So try to absorb as much as you can. Try to ask questions as much as you can. And understand that not everything will register fully on the first read. I'm stating it up front. It is very difficult to absorb everything 100% on the first read. Divya, 15 and 16 translations. We cannot hear you. Divya, we cannot hear you. And Divya, you can disconnect and connect again, please. Archana, 15 and 16 translations.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Text 15. From the sky situated within the transcendental body of the manifestation, Mahavishnu, sense energy, mental force, and the bodily strength are all generated, as well as the sum total of the fundant head of the total living force. 16. Text 16. As a follower of a king, follow their lord. Similarly, when the total energy is in motion, all other living entities move. And when the total energy stops endeavoring, all other living entities stop sensual activities. Hare Krishna.
So the total energy is from the Supreme Lord. When the Lord wants the energies to move, only then the energies move. When the Lord does not want the energies to move, they will not move. When the energies are not moving, meaning there is no sensual activities, all are in Mahavishnu's womb lying in slumber. Archana will read verse 16 purport, which explains Lord is the cause of all causes.
Hare Krishna. Text 16 purport. The individual living entity are completely dependent on the total energy of Supreme Purusha. No one has independent existence, just as no electric lamp has independent effulgence. Each and every electrical instrument depends fully on a total powerhouse. The total powerhouse depends on the reservoir of water for generating electricity. Water depends on the cloud depends on the sun depends on creation, and the creation depends on the movement of the Supreme Personality for Godhead. Thus, the Supreme Personality for Godhead is the cause of all cause. Hare Krishna.
Supreme Lord is the cause of all causes. So from verse number 30 onwards, you can create a table with 7 columns. So this table, portion of it was discussed in Canto 2, Chapter 6. And rest we are discussing here in Canto 2, Chapter 10, verses 70 to 30. I will have the visual on the screen for you. So understand what we are discussing. So you have one visual on the screen of creation. I've shown you this before, that Mahat Tattva is there and all the elements are sitting idle. Elements are the mode of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance, false ego, Mahat Tattva, all are sitting idle. And now mixing happens, meaning creation happens. And Mahat Tattva, then false ego and goodness is mixed. So you get mind and the demigods. False ego and passion is mixed. You get Gyan Indriya, Karma Indriya. And false ego and ignorance is mixed. Then you get the 5 great elements, including the subtle forms. So sound is the subtle of ether. And from ether, then the next element of touch gets manifested, and from touch, air. So this way this continues. I'll show you another visual also. I've shown you earlier. So sound, everything, the entire creation started with sound. And there's a verse in Bhagavatam in Canto 3. It says that everything started with sound and everything can also end with sound, which is the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So make a columnar chart, which is basically what you have on the screen. That column 1, left side, is sense organ. Second column is the subtle sense organ. So the first column was the organ name, and then you have the subtle sense organ. Third column is the gross sense organ. Column 4 is the sense devata, controlling that particular sense. Column 5 is tanmatra. Tanmatra means object of the sense. So to express something is called tanmatra. So for example, the eyes. I will run through the example. Let me first tell the column. I will run through the example. Then column 6 is the material element related to the organ. And the last column is activity. Now some items, activity don't matter. And it's the karma indriya where the activities matter. So take an example that behind each organ, there is a subtle organ. So eyes is the organ name. From and the eyes, eyelids are made out of gross material elements. So behind each organ in our body, there is a subtle organ with a different name. So for example, eyes, the subtle is chakshu or sight. And the gross element is akshini. Now each organ is controlled by a demigod. So these are the 10 original demigods created as part of Sarga, primary creation. I will again show you another visual. So eyes, the demigod is Surya. Now each organ has a tanmatra. Tanmatra means the object of the sense or the expression of the organ. So for eyes means to see, they have to see a form. That's the tanmatra, or how the expression happens for the eyes. And fire gives the form. Therefore, the material element relevant is fire. So for Gyanindriya, knowledge acquiring senses, there is no physical activity because they are knowledge acquiring senses. For the bottom half of the table are the karma indriya or the working senses. They have the physical activity. So as we read through these verses, you can follow along the chart and things will start falling in its place. Now let me also show you what Shivangi just described in terms of how creation happens. Although this visual that I'm about to show you comes in Canto 3, Chapter 5, but for our discussion, it kind of is helpful. I've already shown you this visual when we were discussing the Unit 6 creation in Canto 2, Chapter 5. So I'm showing you again for relevant discussion. So there is Karnodakshai Vishnu first, and from Karnodakshai Vishnu's glance, material nature or pradhan gets manifested. So Kala and Jiva are already existing, and by the glance, the pradhan gets agitated and Mahatattva gets manifested, as well as all the jivas and the combined karma gets infused into Mahatattva. From Mahatattva, Ahankar is manifested. Ahankar or false ego is predominantly in the mode of ignorance. Ahankar mixed with goodness. So all these three modes were also sitting idle before. So now the creation is happening. Now at each step, like how each slide is progressing, at each step, these three things are required. Karnodakshai Vishnu's glance, Kala, and Mahatattva. So the next step is Ahankar mixed with goodness. The mind and the 10 sense demigods get manifested. Ahankar mixed with passion, the prana, 10 senses, and intelligence get manifested. Ahankar mixed with ignorance, the 5 tanmatra and the 5 great elements get manifested. So how the elements get manifested is sound is the starting. From sound comes ether. From ether comes touch. From touch comes air. From air comes form. So this way, all the elements and the subtle elements get manifested. And simultaneously, these are the 10 demigods which are part of creation that that are created by the Lord Himself. So if you look at the visual now, so if you look at eyes, the demigod is sense. And if you go back to the visual, so you'll see eyes and Surya, the demigods, is also mentioned here, as well as the subtle elements for each of the great elements. So I have this other visual here on the screen as well, that you have sound, and from sound comes ether, then from ether comes touch, from touch comes air. So this way all the elements are also get manifested one after the other. I will pause here before we start reading the verses. Questions, comments, realizations? All right. So as we read through these 17 to 30 verses, you can follow along the chart that we have on the screen. That 17 and 18 is mouth and tongue. Divya, you want to read 17, 18 translations? All right, Archana, 17, 18 translation.
Hare Krishna. Text 17. The living force being agitated by the Virat Purusha generate hunger and thirst. And when he desired to drink and eat, the mouth opened. Text 18. From the mouth, the palate became manifested. Thereupon, the tongue was also generated. After this, all the different tastes came into existence so that the tongue can relish them. Hare Krishna.
Right, so verse 19 is fire from the mouth, and verse 20 is the nose. Mayank, 19, 20 translation.
Hare Krishna. When the Supreme desired to speak, speeches were vibrated from the mouth. Then the controlling deity fire was generated from the mouth. But when he was lying in the water, all these functions remained suspended. Thereafter, when the Supreme Purusha desired to smell odors, the nostrils and respiration were generated. The nasal instrument and odors came into existence, and the controlling deity of air, carrying smell, also became manifested.
So now understand that this is all manifestation of the universal form. So from everything in the material world comes from the universal form. So all these elements of the universal form, basically they are manifesting the universes and manifesting the individual elements of our body and the universes as well. So 21, 22 is, 21 is eyes and 22 is ears. Nitya, 21, 22.
Yes, Prabhu. That's when everything existed in darkness. The Lord desired to see himself and all that was created. Then the eyes, the illuminating God's Son, the power of vision, and the object of sight all became manifested. Text 22. By development of the desire of the great sages to know the ears, the power of hearing, the controlling deity of hearing, and the object of hearing became manifested. The great sages desired to hear about the self.
All right. Similarly, 23 is skin, and 24 is hands. Matan, 23, 24.
Hare Krishna. Verse 23. When there was a desire to perceive the physical characteristic of matter, such as softness, hardness, warmth, cold, lightness, and heaviness, the background of sensation, the skin pore, the hairs on the body, and their controlling deities, the trees, were generated. Within and outside the skin is a covering of air through which sense perception became prominent. Text 24. Thereafter, when the Supreme Person desired to perform varieties of work, the two hands and their controlling strength and Indra, the demigod in heaven, became manifested, as also the act of dependent on both the hands and the demigod.
Right, so I explained the knowledge acquiring senses and now the working senses. So for hands, Hasta is the gross element, demigod is Indra, and the activity is karma. Similarly, the next set of verses will explain the remaining components. So 25 is legs and 26 is genitals. Shivangi, 25, 26.
Hare Krishna. Thereupon, because of his desiring to control movement, his legs became manifested, and from the legs the controlling deity named Vishnu was generated. By his personal supervision of this act, all varieties of human beings are busily engaged in dutiful occupational service. Text 26. Thereupon, for sexual pleasure, begetting offspring and tasting heavenly nectar, the Lord developed the genitals, and thus there is the genital organ and its controlling deity, the Prajapati. The object of sexual pleasure and the controlling deity are under the control of the genitals of the Lord.
So now verse 27 is the evacuating hole, and verse 28 is the navel. Shivangi, 27, 28.
Thereafter, when he desired to evacuate the refuse of eatables, the evacuating hole anus and the sensory organ thereof developed along with the controlling deity Mitra. The sensory organ and the evacuating substance are both under the shelter of the controlling deity. Thereafter, when he desired to move from one body to another, the navel and the air of departure and death were combinedly created. The navel is the shelter for both, namely death and the separating force.
So 29 is about abdomen and intestines, and verse 30 is the heart, the seat of the mind and the mind. Mayank, 29, 30.
Hare Krishna. When there was a desire to have food and drink, the abdomen and the intestines and also the arteries became manifested. The rivers and seas are the source of their sustenance and metabolism. When there was a desire to think about the activities of his own energy, then the heart, the seat of the mind, the moon, determination, and all desire became manifested.
So verse number 31 describes the 7 elements of the body, the thin layer on skin. So skin, flesh, blood, fat, marrow, bone, made from earth, water, fire, and life breath, made from sky, water, and air. Matan, 31 translation.
Hare Krishna. Text 31. The 7 elements of the body, namely the thin layer on the skin itself, the flesh, blood, fat, marrow, and bone, are all made of earth, water, and fire, whereas the life breath is produced by the sky, water, and air.
Right, straightforward. So 32, describes the sense organs attached to the modes, and the modes are the product of false ego. Matan, 32.
Text 32. The sense organs are attached to the modes of material nature, and the modes of material nature are product of the false ego. The mind is subjected to all kinds of material experiences, happiness and distress, and the intelligence is the feature of the mind's deliberation.
So senses are attracted to sense objects due to false ego, because wanting to enjoy the modes, and in the process we experience either happiness or distress. So verse 33 describes that this is how the gross universal form is manifested in the material world. And then 34 says the absolute truth is beyond the gross manifestation of the universal form in the material world. Nitya, 33, 34.
Text 33, thus by all this, the external feature of the personality of Godhead is covered by gross forms, such as those of planets, which were explained to you by me. Text 34. Therefore, beyond this gross manifestation is transcendental manifestation, finite in the finest form, which has no beginning, no intermediate stage, and no end. Therefore, it's beyond the limits of expression or mental speculation and is distinct from the material conception.
Right, so all this description is about the manifestation of the universal form, which I described at the very start. So Supreme Lord is beyond the conception of material world, beyond this manifestation of the universal form. So verse 35, the forms of the Lord are explained in various ways in material concept, which are anyway not accepted by pure devotees, because pure devotees know the Sham Sundar form of the Lord. Archana, 35.
Hare Krishna. Text 35. Neither of the above form of the Lord has just described onto you from the material angle of vision is accepted by the pure devotee of a Lord who know him well. Hare Krishna.
So all this is part 2, Sarga creation of the Virat Rupa. Questions, comments, realizations? Nitya.
Prabhu, just want to get a little understanding. I know you said not to try too hard, but just one thing. In the chart, on the flow chart that you gave of creation, with the beginning, we have Mahatattva, Ahankara, the material mode. And then we have in the sequence of development, the sequence, the mind, intelligence, and then the sense organs, right? Senses, sense organs. But when we talked about the universal form and the way the universal form sequence, it looked like the senses and the sense working, the knowledge and working senses came first, and then the heart, Lord gets manifested in the heart, then the mind, and then the mind, the deliberation is intelligence. Did I get that right?
Don't worry about the sequence of the universal form. It all gets manifested together. The verses are just explaining, as Sukdev Goswami is wondering, is speaking. So what you have on the screen, yeah, that sequence is correct. For the universal form, don't worry about the sequence. It all got manifested at one time. Just that the verses are explaining as Sukdev Goswami is explaining it.
Thank you, Prabhu. That actually makes it very clear. Thank you.
All right, Shivangi.
Prabhuji, is this structure different for every universe, or is it like kind of the same formula for all the universes?
All universes principle is same, that all universes have Garbhodakshai Vishnu. From Garbhodakshai Vishnu comes Brahmaji, and from Garbhodakshai
Mhm.
Vishnu comes also the universal form for each universe. So each
Mhm.
universe has a universal form, each universe has a Garbhodakshai Vishnu, each
Mhm.
universe has a Brahmaji. These broad principles are same. Each universe has the five great elements. Those basic high level principles are same.
Mhm.
Complexity of each universe is different. Therefore, some universes there is Brahmaji with 100 heads.
Mhm.
Some universe Brahmaji with 1,000 heads, 100,000 heads, or million heads. Just because the complexity of the universe is different. Our universe is the smallest of the universe in terms of complexity. Therefore, the Brahmaji for our universe with 4 heads is the Brahmaji with least number of heads across all Brahmajis of all universes. Shivangi, everybody.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
So Hare Krishna, the other universes are better than this universe?
When you say better, in what sense? All material universes are places of misery. So there's no such thing as better. What do you mean by better?
This is the least complicated, so other ones are more complicated.
Yeah, so complex is different compared to better, right? So your inquiry better, that's why I say, what do you mean by better? They are complex. So you see the visual I have on the screen. So this visual is there from Chaitanya Charitamrita, that there are Brahmajis with so many number of more heads. You see, it's why they have so many more heads is because the complexity of the universe is so much that Brahmaji needs so many additional brains to manage that complexity. Matan,
Okay, thank you.
Mayank?
So, Prabhuji, you mentioned about all that elements, right? So, why in different planet, so Earth has all of it, but different planets, does it have all of it?
So understand there would be a predominating element. So if you look at sun, the predominating element is fire on the sun planet. Therefore, the living entities that are living on sun planet, their body is predominantly made out of fire. Therefore, they can exist. Our body is not predominantly made out of fire. Therefore, whenever we try to go to sun, we will get burned. Or even when NASA has tried to send in satellites from Earth, well, because it's coming from Earth, it's not predominated with fire. Therefore, the satellites also burn out when they reached in close proximity to sun. And therefore, when we go do services at the temple, so for example, Shivangi stands very close to the oven, and we have said that Shivangi now gets qualified to take birth on sun planet because her body is used to the heat. Right? Back.
Yeah, Prabhuji, I got it. Mhm.
It
But
was a
yeah,
yeah was a very doubtful got it, but okay.
I'm still a bit confused, but yeah,
Yeah,
maybe.
I already explained. This is what we are discussing is not easy to
Yeah,
absorb on day one. it's a lot of technical information. And although I am showing you the visual from Canto 3, Chapter 5, the visual that we have on the screen actually does not belong here. It's from Canto 3, Chapter 5. So there is more discussion coming up. I'm trying to explain everything that is coming up later on for clarity, but I cannot help anything more. It is difficult subject matter to absorb. I already said that.
Yeah, got it, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Any questions, comments, realizations before we then discuss the visarga, the secondary creation by Brahmaji?
So I have one question. In the 7-column chart, we have activity, but for the eyes, ears, there is no activity.
So the eyes, what's the function? It's knowledge gathering, right? So the knowledge that they are gathering is this form. So I see, say they see an object has a particular form. That's the function of the eye, but the eyes are not working like hands and legs. So eyes have the knowledge acquiring role versus hands and legs have the working role. So therefore, there's no activity for knowledge acquiring senses.
Okay, thank you.
Prabhu, I just wanted to, when I was reading the purport of text 28, it was very striking. Lord Brahma is born from the navel of Garbhodakshai Vishnu, and how the child develops from the body of the mother and connected with the umbilical cord. So it was very striking how it is so, the parallel, how human, how human life is so similar to, the
Correct.
supreme creation. That was very striking when I read it.
Yeah, you are correct. So the principle are same with tiny differences. All right, last chance. Anybody, any questions, comments, realizations before visarga discussion? All right, part 3 is verses 36 to 47. Title is visarga. Visarga means secondary creation by Brahmaji. Archana, 36 translation.
Hare Krishna, text 36. He, the personality of a Godhead, manifests himself in a transcendental form, being the subject of his transcendental name, quality, pastime, interest, and transcendental variegatedness. Although he is unaffected by all such activity, he appears to be so engaged. Hare Krishna.
So long time ago, Malti had asked this question about variety in the spiritual world, and the answer is right here, which we discussed the answer. Transcendental variegatedness. That everything in the spiritual world, there is a lot of variety. Of course, everything is reflected upon in the material world, not in 100%. There's a lot more variegatedness in the spiritual world than what we can see in the material world. So in verse number 36, purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that from Vishnu comes Brahmaji, means from Garbhodakshaya Vishnu comes Brahmaji. From Brahmaji comes Shiva. So Brahmaji is created to create the different bodies of Jiva. So all the visuals that I showed you, they were all individual components created by the Lord as part of Sarga, primary creation. So now Brahmaji comes into picture. He says, oh, I see all these components, which is, say, the gross elements, the 5 great elements, the individual mode of goodness, then passion, then ignorance, then ego, the mind, everything. They're all individually sitting, and now he's coming and assembling, he's mixing all of this to create the 8.4 million life forms. Verses 37 to 40 explain that all living entities are created based on past karma. So what happens at this point of time in creation is that Brahmaji has created this shell, the 8.4 million life forms, and Jiva comes out of Mahavishnu's womb, comes in front of Brahmaji, and Brahmaji is omnipotent enough to see through the Jiva's dominant desire. And he says, okay, this Jiva, your dominant desire is so and so. I will match you to one of these bodily forms from the 8.4 million body forms. And your desire will get fulfilled in this particular life form. So this particular life form is most suited to fulfill your dominant desire. Nitya, 37 to 40 translations.
Yes, Prabhu. O King, know from me that all living entities are created by the Supreme Lord according to their past deeds. This includes Brahma and his sons like Daksha, the periodical heads like Vai, Vastava, Manu, the demigods like Indra, Chandra, and Varuna, the great sages like Bhrigu, Vyasa, Vasistha, the inhabitants of Pitraloka and Siddhaloka, the Saranas, Gandhavas, Vidyadharas, Asuras, Yakshas, Kinnaras, and angels. The serpentines, the monkey-shaped Kim-Purusas, the human beings, the inhabitants of Matraloka, the demons, Visakas, ghost spirits, lunatics, and evil spirits, the good and evil stars, the goblins, the animals in the forest, the birds, the household animals, the reptiles, the mountains, the moving and standing living entities, the living entities born from embryo, from eggs, from perspiration, and from seeds, and all others, whether they be in the water, land, or sky, in happiness and distress, or in mixed happiness and bliss. All of them, according to their past deeds, are created by the Supreme Lord.
So, as I described, and I'll give you an example, that if a jiva is interested in drinking blood, hence by karma, is supposed to get a body, say, of a tiger or some similar animal. Hence, he goes with this tiger consciousness in Mahavishnu's womb from his previous birth. The next creation manifests in one of the universe. This jiva manifests in one of the universe. This jiva comes in front of Brahmaji with the consciousness of a tiger wanting to drink blood. And Brahmaji puts this jiva in a tiger body. Thus, jiva takes birth as a tiger according to his karma and consciousness. So, Brahmaji sees the consciousness of jiva and finds a perfect match from the 8.4 million life forms. Questions, comments, realizations? So verse 41, there's an example given of the mixing of all these elements. Matan, 41 translation.
Hare Krishna, according to different modes of material nature, the modes of goodness, the mode of passion, and the mode of darkness, there are different living creatures who are known as demigods, human beings, and hellish living entities. O King, even a particular mode of nature being mixed with other two is divided into three, and thus each kind of living creature is influenced by the other modes and acquires its habits also.
So I've given this example before that when you buy a new cell phone or any device, say the cell phone comes with a default ringtone. Similarly, our body is having this default mix of the modes. And that's what this verse is explaining, that there's a mixture of the three modes. So Srila Prabhupada gives the example that by mixing of the three primary colors, red, blue, and green, we can have unlimited colors. Similarly, each living entity is unique because the combination of the three modes is unique. Even twins are not exactly identical because the combination of the three modes is slightly different in the body. So that combination of the three modes is the default setting we have in our respective body. So Brahmaji has all the material elements available to him, and Brahmaji can mix in many different ways. Brahmaji can mix in 8.4 million different ways to match to the 8.4 million life forms. Questions, comments, realizations?
Prabhu, just a realization. So, the judgment when we appear before Lord Brahmaji actually happens at the beginning of the secondary creation. So it's actually when the jiva, is annihilated. That's not when judgment happens for the next material body. It happens at the beginning of the next creation.
So when the jiva leaves the previous body, he's carrying his consciousness with him, right? So it's a continuation. The next creation cycle, he comes in front of Brahmaji with that consciousness, and Brahmaji is just matching. It's a continuation. There's no such thing as stopping. Yeah, there was, just as we have day and night. So we go to sleep and we forget everything, and next morning we wake up and we just continue working from where we left off the previous day. Similarly, creation is also like this, just the length of time is little long, that when we go to sleep in Mahavishnu's womb, the sleeping time is 4.3 billion Earth years. It's just the length is quite long. But otherwise, it's the principle is similar. Nitya?
Yes, Prabhu, thank you. That definitely, I think it's very clear. This was drawing the comparison of how another religion, for example, Christianity says that judgment comes at the end, right? But the whole thing is very different. I think it's very clear from our scriptures.
Yeah, so I have described this in Bhagavad Gita chapter 13 and 14. That chapter 13 and 14, the philosophical discussion that Krishna has explained about the creation and the modes, as well as what we are seeing and discussing in Bhagavatam, there is no parallel to this conversation. You understand that other religions, they don't have authorized purports. So any human writing commentary, it's subject to limitations. Everybody.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Verse 42, 43 are straightforward. Mayank, 42, 43.
Hare Krishna. He, the personality of Godhead, as the maintainer of all in the universe, appears in different incarnations after establishing the creation, and thus he reclaims all kinds of conditioned souls amongst the humans, the non-humans, and the demigods. Thereafter, at the end of the millennium, the Lord himself in the form of Rudra, the destroyer, will annihilate the complete recreation the complete creation as the wind displaces the clouds.
So understand this point, that creation and destruction is easy. Maintenance is very difficult. Therefore, Vishnu is in charge of maintenance, the difficult part. Just as to have a child is not difficult, but to maintain a child is very difficult. Now, and death is not a big deal because death happens automatically. Since maintenance is difficult, therefore Vishnu takes care of maintenance. Therefore, very important to understand that creation and destruction is easy. Maintenance is difficult. And therefore, Vishnu is in charge of maintenance. Brahmaji is in charge of creation and Shiva is in charge of destruction. Verses 44 to 47 are also straightforward. We'll read one verse at a time. Shivangi, 44.
Hare Krishna. Text 44 translation. The great transcendentalists thus describe the activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but the pure devotees deserve to see more glorious things in transcendence beyond these features.
So great personalities, they describe about Sarga, the primary creation, and visarga, the secondary creation. But pure devotees, they are interested only in the wonderful pastimes of the Lord. Verse 45 has an analogy. Shivangi, 45 translation.
There is no direct engineering by the Lord for the creation and destruction of the material world. What is described in the Vedas about his indirect interference is simply
About
to
his
counteract.
direct interference. Read again.
Sorry. There is no direct engineering by the Lord for the creation and destruction of the material world. What is described in the Vedas about his direct interference is simply to counteract the idea that material nature is the creator.
So all these explanations about his involvement is just to counteract the idea that material nature is not the creator. The Lord is the creator. And in verse 45 purport, Srila Prabhupada explains this with an analogy. The analogy is Aja Gala Sthana Nyaya. Aja Gala Sthana Nyaya means nipples on the neck of a goat. So Aja Gala Sthana Nyaya means the logic of setting aside the Supreme Lord as the cause of all causes, or trying to milk the nipples on the neck of a goat. Meaning, what this analogy is saying is that considering material nature to be the cause of creation, maintenance, etc., is the logic of trying to milk nipples on the neck of a goat. Material nature is an energy of the Lord, but is inert, meaning material nature has no initiative of its own. Therefore, this inert material nature cannot be the ultimate cause of creation, maintenance, destruction of material world. We saw the visual and we read the verses that material nature is set into motion by motion for creation by the Supreme Lord, by the glance of the personality of Godhead. Bhagavad Gita 9.10 clearly explains Maya Adhyakshena Prakati. Material nature is working under the direction of the Supreme Lord. So although it appears to an ordinary man that mother gives birth to a child, an experienced man knows that actually the father contacts the mother and thus the father gives birth to a child. Similarly, material nature produces moving and standing manifestations of material world after being contacted by the Supreme Father. Material nature, this manifested world, the jivas, everything are energies of the Lord. So those who accept material nature as the cosmic manifestations, original cause, according to Sankhya philosophy, they are incorrect in their conclusion. So nipples on the neck of a goat may seem like sources of milk, but to try to get milk from such nipples on the neck of a goat will be foolish. This is the analogy Prabhupada explains. Aja Kalastana Nyaya. Questions, comments, realizations? Verse 46, 47 are also straightforward. Mayang 46, 47 translation.
Hare Krishna. This process of creation and annihilation described in summary herein is the regulative principle during the duration of Brahma's one day. It is also the regulative principle in the creation of Mahat, in which the material nature is dispersed. O king, I shall in due course explain the measurement of time in its gross and supple and subtle features with the specific symptoms of each, but for the present let me explain unto you the Padma Kalpa.
So straightforward verses. Sarga is primary creation by the Lord, happens at the start of Brahmaji's life. Every day of Brahmaji. Of course, the original creation is one time at the start of Brahmaji's life. Then there is partial annihilation and then creation again, the start of Brahmaji's day. So visarga is secondary creation at the start of each day of Brahmaji. And annihilation is at the start of each night of Brahmaji. Questions, comments, realizations? We have discussed the creation at great length. The last set of verses are what will lead to Canto 3. Shivangi.
Prabhuji, the annihilation you mentioned, that's a partial annihilation that happens at the night of each night of Brahmaji.
Correct.
Okay.
So a 12-hour night, every 12-hour every night of Brahmaji is annihilation. This is partial annihilation. That entire universe below Brahmaloka gets annihilated. Brahmaloka stays. The universe is not annihilated, just whatever is below Brahmaloka. Rest everything stays as it is. And then the next day of Brahmaji, the creation starts again, and everything happens. Creation happens again, just as we all sleep at night and next morning we wake up and start doing the activities again. Shivangi.
Is there a reason why there's a partial annihilation? Like, so is it because Brahmaji can have something to do every day, or?
For sure, you can think it that way. Now understand that Mayank Prabhu had also asked this question, but what's this purpose of creation and recreation again and again? So understand that material world is created with this principle of annihilation, so that we understand that this is not our permanent home. We still don't realize, although we have lived at least for 155 trillion years in this cycle of creation, how many of us realize that this material world is not permanent home for us? Right, so it's a process built in to the material universe creation of annihilation, that the cycle is built in, that 12-hour night of Brahmaji will be annihilation. I mean, if you look through the junk that people have on earth, that municipalities are having a challenge that where they're going to put the garbage. The garbage sites are getting filled. And if you look at space, although it's not visible to us, but if you follow NASA and whatever other programs that are for space, there is so much junk in space that people from Earth have sent out. So all that needs to get cleaned up again and again, and that's what happens in the partial annihilation. Shivangi?
Thank you, Prabhuji. Makes sense.
All right, part 4 is verses 48 to 51. Title is Saunaka Questions about Vidura Maitreya Samvad. So Saunaka Rishi wants to continue hearing Krishna Katha. Therefore, Saunaka Rishi recalls the earlier conversation from Canto 1, Chapter 13, verse number 1 about Vidura, that Suta Goswami had previously spoken, that Vidura, how Vidura received the knowledge of self-realization from the great sage Maitreya Muni. So Saunaka Rishi is remembering that, and he says, so please tell us about the Vidura Maitreya Samvad. And in response, Suta Goswami will quote that Parikshit Maharaj also asked similar question to Sukadeva Goswami to hear the Vidura Maitreya Samvad. So, Matan Prabhu, first read Canto 1, Chapter 13, verse number 1. So, this is where the history is that Saunaka Rishi is remembering. 1:13:1.
Hare Krishna. Canto 1, text chapter 13, text 1. Sri Suda Goswami said, while traveling on a pilgrimage, Vidura received knowledge of the destination of the self from the great sage Maitreya and then returned to Hastinapura. He became as well versed in the subject as he desired.
Right, so this was way back. So now all this discussion about creation is finished, but the sages want to continue hearing Krishna Katha. And so the Saunaka Rishi is remembering this 1.13.1. And therefore, Saunaka Rishi then speaks in Canto 2, Chapter 10, verses 48 to 51. Just straightforward. So Matan Prabhu, Canto 2, Chapter 10, 48 to 51 translations.
Okay, verse 51.
48 to 51.
Okay, 48. Swanaka Rishi, after hearing all about the creation, inquired from Suda Goswami about Vidura, for Suda Goswami had previously informed him on how Vidura left home, leaving aside all his relatives who were very difficult to leave. Text 49 to 50. Sonaga Rishi said, "Let us know, please, what topics were discussed between Vidura and Maitreya, who talked on a transcendental subject, and what was inquired by Vidura and replied by Maitreya. Also, please let us know the reason for Vidura giving up the connection of his family members and why he again came home. Please also let us know the activities of Vidura while he was in the place of pilgrimage." Text 51. Sri Sudha Goswami explained, "I shall now explain to you the very subject explained by the great sage in the answer to King Parikshit's inquiries. Please hear them attentively."
Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purports of second canto, 10th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Bhagavatam is the answer to all questions. Thus ends canto number 2, and the last set of verses will lead into canto number 3. Questions, comments, realizations? Nitya.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Is Maya described as an abstract form of material energy? Pradhan, the modes, and Maya, they all come under material nature. Material nature.
So material nature has various components from pradhan. Pradhan is the material nature, the original energy, which is unmanifested. From pradhan comes the manifested material world. Within material world, you also have various energies, modes. So I showed you visual for all of that. They're all part of the manifested material world.
Prabhu, then Maya, the illusory energy, is an abstract force, correct?
It's an energy. It's a force. You cannot say abstract. It's an energy. All right, spiritual endeavor questions. Question number 1. Explain Aja Gala Sthana Nyaya. Comes from verse number 45. Question 2. Briefly describe what is meant by Mahakalpa, Vikalpa, and Kalpa. Comes from verse number 46. All right. So now I'm going to show you, we have created this YouTube channel for all our class recordings with thanks from Sumnima from the other batch, as well as Dayamai Radha and Surbi Mataji from the Toronto temple. So Dayamai, some of you may know as Debbie or Debija. So I will give you access to all of this. My view will be different than your view. On your view, you look for playlist. So the channel is also public. You can look up for Spiritual Books /Ramvilas as is highlighted on the, not slash, but Spiritual Books -Ramvilas Das. If you look up on YouTube, you will come to the same YouTube channel. I will anyway send links. So what I have created is, I have created this various playlist. You go at the bottom and you expand. By default is only 10. Expand to maximum. And this is still work in progress. So you have Bhagavad Gita. So far there are 19 audio recordings, and another devotee, Surbi Mataji, is populating. Then you have Canto 3 Bhagavatam. It's still work in progress. So far I have uploaded 38. Canto 4 revision, Canto 3 revision. So devotees presenting on Srimad Bhagavatam. So you all next are scheduled to present. So devotees from batch 1 and 2 already did this presentation. So if you click this playlist and click videos, you will see how all the devotees, they did their presentation, which you all will be doing very, very soon, the bigger presentation. Similarly, everything is coming along as a playlist. For example, the Ekadashi, the Bhoga offering, the Sanskrit and how to take darshan, Ishopanishad revision, Nectar of Devotion revision, Canto 1, Canto 2, Bhagavad Gita revision. Everything is coming up. It's still work in progress. For Canto 1 and Canto 2, I'm going to upload this batch 3 and 4 class recordings. For Canto 3 and Canto 4, it will be batch 1 and 2 class recordings that I'm going to upload. So what you have to do is you go to the playlist and you will realize with the naming convention. So if I go to Canto 1 right now and click videos from the left, the naming convention is rock solid, and it says RVd4, means it refers to your current batch 3 and 4. The Bhagavatam class 27, date, and the which canto, chapter, and a brief description of the crux of the discussion. So it's in sequential order. Again, this is still work in progress. Everything is coming along. It's a lot of effort on my part to create as well as to upload. There are devotees helping me offline, which is Sumnima and Surbi Mataji's, to upload. Mayank Prabhu was kind enough to also offer to help, but it's just too much for me to handle. So I have to feed the documents, means the recordings, to them so they can upload. So it already is too much for me to handle. Therefore, Mayank Prabhu, I did not really respond to you. Not that I did not want to, but it was just too much for me to handle, and still is a lot of endeavor. There are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of recordings that I need to upload, and it's still a work in progress. But everything is coming along in one place. Now, you can use this for your preaching. So if you go to Bhagavad Gita and you click videos from the left side, all the Bhagavad Gita recordings for batch 6 and 7. So that's the latest Bhagavad Gita. Therefore, I have put Bhagavad Gita 6 and 7 in there. They are all there from class number 1 onwards. Of course, it's there for your revision also. But you can use this for your preaching. You can expand your preaching of these YouTube channel. You go to this class number 1, you hover over, you click these 3 dots and you click this shareable link, and you send that link to any new devotee who says, I want to understand the starting of Bhagavad Gita, or I don't understand chapter 1. So you scroll through here, find chapter 1 discussion, and take the link and give it to the devotee. Or say if you want to revise Bhagavad Gita for yourself, so you just find Bhagavad Gita on the list of the playlist. So you have Bhagavad Gita revision in brief, and you click video. So these are the Bhagavad Gita revisions that you all did in this batch 3 and 4. So they are all there in sequential order. You can just pick up whichever chapter you want to have a refresher on, or anybody, just expand. This is going to become like, it will explode. It can explode if you use it properly, of expanding it to anybody and everybody. Questions, comments, realizations?
Prabhu, this seems such an amazing resource, Prabhu. I can only imagine all the time and endeavor taken on your part. But this is amazing resource because also we are always asking you to please forward it. You know, we had some difficulty with the old Zoom classes.
Yeah,
So
you are
this is
correct. Very
amazing.
good. So the old Zoom classes, which you had a challenge to play on your cell phones, that issue gets resolved. So if you go to any of the class recordings, although they are past recordings which have the Zoom glitch, but by uploading it here, that issue gets resolved. So you simply click the link and that video will play on any device, including your cell phone and everything. And Nitya is correct. It definitely is a significantly humongous endeavor for me, for Sumnima, for Survi Mataji to upload. Definitely a humongous task on my part because I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these recordings in multiple computers, and I have to. I'm just trying to assemble everything in one place as a database in one place with everything. So you all will receive an email from me for getting access to this YouTube channel. Of course, it's public. Shivangi yesterday already looked up while I was speaking that if you just look up Spiritual Books Ram Vilas on YouTube, you will come to the same place. But I will give you access because you are all devotees across all batches are part of what is in there. It's not just me. You all have been giving presentations and talking. So for your presentation, the bigger presentation that you all have to do, you can go here, devotees presenting Srimad Bhagavatam batch 1 and 2, and you click the videos on the left side and you will see all the devotees from batch 1 and 2. They have done presentations on so and so topic. So you will get some idea on what topic to choose. Well, you can use the same topic also, it doesn't hurt. So when you get the link from me for access, there is an validation that you have to do. So I request all of you to please go through the validation process, and otherwise it will just sit there and that request will expire in about 30 days or so. It's simply you have to accept getting access to this YouTube channel. So I request all of you to use it in your preaching endeavor. That give links to anybody and everybody who wants to listen. Now, the way you will be able to give links is different than how I give you links. I'm going to give you access to everything. That all these playlists will be visible to you all. But when you have to give link to somebody, so say somebody is asking for Bhagavad Gita, you click Bhagavad Gita and a relevant recording, or Bhagavatam, a relevant recording, or Bhagavad Gita revision, a relevant recording. Of course, if somebody wants access to the whole database, by all means, can ask me and I can always get it to them. I will see Nectar of Devotion, revision in brief. There are 0 videos because from 8th of March, you all will be revising Nectar of Devotion. That will get uploaded here as you all will be revising Nectar of Devotion. So in all batches so far, the Nectar of Devotion revision has not happened at all. So you all are pioneers for Nectar of Devotion revision at least. Mike?
Prabhuji, to be honest, this is huge work and a lot of management.
Absolutely. For the last
It's not
two,
easy. It's like
you are correct. This is not easy. For the last 2 to 3 weeks or more, I have spent significant is a small amount way. I have spent significant amount of time to set this up, and it still is work in progress. There's still hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of lectures that I have to upload. And to upload also, I have to go each recording, I have to go and do click, 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 click for all the settings. So it's a humongous task. You're absolutely correct.
Thank
So
you so much, Prabhuji.
Mayank Prabhu, actually, thanks to you, you did offer to help, but you can visualize I was swamped with this. Like to get to this point, already there was so much effort. I couldn't do more. So Sumnima from the other batch and Surbi Matajis from the Toronto Temple are helping me. So I have to feed everything to them so they can upload. I could only do so much. Therefore, Mayank Prabhu, I never came to your request. I never reached your request.
Yeah, Prabhuji, that is okay. But I was just thinking, like, since you have a lot of things, I'm not sure how you are doing this entire process, but if we can automate somehow to.
There's no such automation in here. There's no automation. They upload for each, yeah, the upload happens, but then individually I have to go, or whosoever is doing, they have to individually click, and each video. So there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of videos. Each video, there is a click, a lot many clicks to do. So that cannot be automated, right?
Yeah, yeah, no,
Thank you again, Mayank Prabhu, for your spontaneous desire to serve, but I could only do. You can visualize that I was swamped setting this up.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Yeah, thank you so much, Prabhuji. This is such a huge endeavor, and we really looking for this one. And now we don't get a chance to bother you, Prabhuji. That is a sad news.
That's okay. You can always connect with me to say Hare Krishna. That's okay. So yes, it's still work in progress. I wouldn't say this is complete. So it still is work in progress. So tolerate. As we progress, I'm trying to do as much as I can. But in a day, I only have 48 hours. I can only do so much.
Thank you so much. This is great. And we don't have any space on our computer to store all the recording. We can go here and watch.
Yeah, you can visualize. I have 2 computers and they are running out of space. I have so many recordings for all the batches.
Are you paying for the cloud storage?
No. Right now I have multiple computers. I have external hard drive.
No, for the YouTube, this channel.
Not YouTube. No, YouTube. This is public. There's no payment. I mean, the paid version has additional features, but we don't need. We only need basic, so there's no payment for that. I'm hoping the base data available doesn't run out of space. I don't know what will happen then, but so far there is no such payment. It's just the effort level.
Okay, thanks.
So you all are going to get emails from me to get access for this YouTube channel. Although it's public, you can look up the SpiritualBooks-Ram Vilas and you will come to here. But I will give you direct access. You all will be listed as having direct access, not just looking up on a public way, because you all are part and parcel of whatever is there on the YouTube channel. So work in progress coming up. So all of you do it. At least devotees from batch 1 and 2 already got the link. Some of them have accepted. Some of them are still work in progress to accept the email that they received. So do your part also to accept the invitation that you get for this YouTube channel.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. So I already subscribed. So the invitation, what I'm going to receive, I have to go back. I have to go again there.
So it will be same. So subscription, yes, you are okay with that. It's just that the invitation that you will receive is that all the owners of the YouTube channel is what the link is. So you all devotees are owners of this YouTube, because everything on the YouTube is from all devotees, not just me. You all are doing the talking, right? Therefore, you all are owners. That's the link you are going to get to subscribe to. Thank you for immediately subscribing. All of you can please subscribe. So everything will get uploaded. You can see that on the side there is a count of videos running. Bhagavad Gita so far 19, but in Bhagavad Gita batch 6 and 7 is about 77 or 78 lectures that's gonna get uploaded. So you can see it's a humongous task in itself for Bhagavad Gita itself. For Canto 3 are about 50 class recordings. Canto 4 also about 40 plus have already happened. So it's all work in progress. They're all coming one after the other. Plus, you know, the Ekadashi class that I sent you during the previous holidays around Christmas, the Bhoga offering, the Sanskrit, everything is also there. So everything is coming along. Have patience, follow what is there, and I am doing my best in the 48 hours. Yes, I said 48 hours multiple times. All right. So we have finished Canto 2 and this unit. So next week, we all will be doing the presentations. You all will be doing the presentation. There are still few empty slots. I have reminded multiple times. Pragya looks like she is going to do the whole of chapter 9. I'm hoping. Okay. So there are still few spots open. Let's see, there is one spot, 2, 3, 4. There are 4. So you don't have to wait. As well as you also have here Nectar of Devotion. So select your presentation. So very soon you don't need to wait. And the bigger presentation, please don't procrastinate on this, because this is going to take a very long time for you to choose your topic and then to prepare. It's a humongous task. So do not procrastinate. All of you immediately connect with me. Some of you already mentioned, oh, this is already anxiety for me. Yeah, it is spiritual anxiety. Spiritual anxiety means it's a blessing of Srila Prabhupada. So yes, it's good, but then connect with me immediately. This is a lot of endeavor that you need to put through. Do not procrastinate on this at all. It will take a significant amount of time for you to choose your topic, then prepare your topic. You will have to listen to Prabhupada lectures. You may have to listen to my Bhakti Vaibhav class recordings for understanding and preparing the slides, etc. Divya and Shivangi, thank you for populating your topics. Yeah, and Divya and Shivangi are also going to connect with me. So thank you for those who are in progress. Some of you did connect with me, that you will connect with me. So connect with me right away. So all these steps. First is the presentation for Unit 7, Canto 2, Unit 7 for next week on March 1st. Then from 8th March onwards, Nectar of Devotion. And then the bigger presentations. In between, I will also have a tab for Sri Upanishad revision. We also will be doing that. Questions, comments, realizations so far?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So in the YouTube channel, you have not uploaded the Canto 2 yet. So can I ask for a recording for today's Prabhu?
Yeah, you send me a message offline, so I will remember. Yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
You are correct. Everything is
No. Yeah. It's going to take a long time, Prabhu. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, message, so I don't forget it. Message, and I will send you the recording.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
All right. So for the remainder of the time, I will aim to answer some of the inquiries. from the previous sessions, although I will not be able to complete all the inquiries. Not to worry, I will finish answering in our subsequent classes. So let's see. So the inquiries in our previous class number 51, we had already discussed until question number 2. So we are not now going to discuss from question number 3. Nitya is going to answer question number 3. Nitya.
Yes, Prabhu. One second. Is buddhi a necessary condition for bhakti, or can bhakti arise even without intellectual understanding? Yes, bhakti can arise without buddhi or intelligence, especially in the initial stages and when guided by Lord's mercy. In Bhagavad Gita, verse 10.10, Lord Krishna says, "To those who are constantly devoted to serving me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me." So this indicates that buddhi is not a necessary condition, and it can be a result of bhakti. For one who is seriously engaged in bhakti without being fully intelligent, Lord will give them the understanding to make the progress. Example of the Gopas and Gopis of Vrindavan who they did not go to school to study the Vedas, but still had the highest level of devotion because Lord Krishna gave them the intelligence because of their devotion. And in Srimad Bhagavatam 4.9.5, Srila Prabhupada describes how Dhruv Maharaj, at the age of 5, who did not go to school or study the Vedas, but by a touch of the Lord's conch shell on his forehead, came all the conclusions of the Vedic scriptures became revealed to him, and he was able to recite beautiful prayers. Also in Bhagavad Gita 10.10, Buddhi Yoga is referred to as the highest form of intelligence, and Buddhi Yoga is devotional service in full Krishna consciousness. So either path is valid. One who has little faith needs to be convinced by studying the scriptures, but someone like the Gopis and Gopas who already have a lot of faith and devotion do not need to study the scriptures.
Very good. Thank you. So we'll read 4.9.5 that Nitya quoted correctly. So I have on the screen 4.9.5. We'll read the translation and the purport. Whosoever wants to read, everybody has read. Whosoever wants to quickly read.
Hare Krishna. At that time, Dhruv Maharaj became perfectly aware of the Vedic conclusion and understood the absolute truth and his relationship with all living entities. In accordance with the line of devotional service to the Supreme Lord, whose fame is widespread, Dhruv, who in the future would receive a planet which would never be annihilated even during the time of dissolution, offered his deliberate and conclusive prayers.
Purport.
There are many important items to be considered in this verse. First of all, the relationship between the absolute truth and the relative material and spiritual energies is here understood by a student who has complete knowledge of the Vedic literature. Dhruv Maharaj never went to any school or academic teacher to learn the Vedic conclusion, but because of his devotional service to the Lord, as soon as the Lord appeared and touched his forehead with his conch shell, automatically the entire Vedic conclusion was revealed to him. That is the process of understanding Vedic literature. One cannot understand it simply by academic learning. The Vedas indicate that only to one who has unflinching faith in the Supreme Lord as well as in the spiritual master is the Vedic conclusion revealed.
Right. So Prabhupada clearly says that Dhruv Maharaj never went to any school. But because of his devotion, the conclusions of all Vedic literatures became revealed. Of course, Lord touched his conch shell. Conch shell is representing Vedas. So understand, Dhruv Maharaj is only 5-year-old right now. He has never gone to school. But in the subsequent verses, in this Canto 4, he recites beautiful prayers. He understands everything, that Lord is the supreme, and the relationship of all his spiritual energies, like how we Jiva are the eternal servants. He understood everything, the Vedic conclusions. This is the way to understand. So the question that we had is buddhi necessary? Intellectual? No, it's not necessary. Devotion is necessary. Does that answer the inquiry? Nitya, thank you for answering.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. So for question 3, buddhi is not necessary, but we need a mercy of pure devotee, right? For a Dhruv Maharaj also, when Srila Narad Muni has come in the association with Dhruv Maharaj, then only he able to go and do the meditation.
Yeah, mercy is definitely very much required. Even though whatever you may do, you may be acquiring a lot of knowledge, endeavoring, still mercy is required. Mike?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you, Mataji, for answering the question. Prabhuji, but for getting into devotional service, isn't that initial
Yeah, so
thought or like?
Nitya correctly pointed out that both paths are valid. For somebody like me who has very little faith, well, I need to have standing on the spiritual path, my footing firm through scriptural knowledge, because I don't have faith from before. But gopis or somebody with a lot of faith and devotion, they don't need any scriptural knowledge. So it depends on the individual devotee. Therefore, Nitya correctly said, both paths are valid. Somebody like me who does not have a lot of faith, yeah, I need scriptural knowledge first to establish my footing. But others who have a lot of devotion and faith, they can continue without scriptural knowledge, because everything is anyway getting revealed to them from within because of 10.10, Tadami Buddhi Yogam, that because of their devotion, Krishna is revealing everything to them. Why?
Okay, Prabhuji, I was I didn't meant about scriptural knowledge. So you mentioned about everything is revealed within. So probably that's what I meant. Like because there has to be some initial source that uh, that lets person want to at first start bhakti, right?
So bhakti
Or maybe I.
starts from bhakti. Bhakti does not start from intellectual understanding. Bhakti starts from bhakti. Bhakti starts by the mercy of a pure devotee. Whether or not we realize, all of us have received mercy of a pure devotee. Therefore, we are able to do this little bit of endeavor on the path of spirituality. Bhakti starts from bhakti, not from anything else.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Question number 4. What does blowing the conch shell in temple signify? We discussed that Dhruv Maharaj, through blow of conch shell, learned the Vedas. So, blowing conch shell is to drive away the demons and demoniac mentality, plus to inform the devotees that Lord is ready to give darshan. And of course, we just read that Dhruv Maharaj didn't get the understanding of Vedas through blowing the conch shell. Rather, it was touching the conch shell on his forehead. So just as in Bhagavatam Canto 1, Chapter 11, Lord blew the conch shell just on the outskirts of Dwarka, and Dwarka Vasis became jubilant. Similarly, the devotees also hear the conch shell and they realize, oh, Lord is coming. Lord is ready to give darshan. Let's go take darshan. Does that answer the inquiry? All right. Question number 5. So I'm a little surprised with question number 5 inquiry. Question number 5. What does the book Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead of Srila Prabhupada contain? So I'm a little surprised with this inquiry. We have discussed this point so many times. Krishna book is Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10 in summary form. All of Srila Prabhupada's books are spectacular. Still, the Krishna book stands out. Just look at the beautiful pictures in the Krishna book. How Krishna book came about is that one time Srila Prabhupada was quite unwell. Srila Prabhupada had not yet completed translating the entire Srimad Bhagavatam. And Srila Prabhupada was thinking that if Srila Prabhupada leaves the body before completing Srimad Bhagavatam translation, then the cream of Srimad Bhagavatam, which is Canto 10, will be a big loss. Therefore, even before completing Srimad Bhagavatam translation, Srila Prabhupada first wrote Krishna book as the summary of Canto 10 in summary form. And then Prabhupada went back. So he recovered from his unwell situation. Then Prabhupada went back to translating Bhagavatam as well as translating Canto 10 up to chapter 14 also. Does that answer the inquiry? Last question for today. We will discuss the rest of the question in subsequent classes. Question number 6. Are all incarnations that may come in future also listed in Srimad Bhagavatam? Yes, the next incarnation is Kalki Avatar to appear towards the end of Kali Yuga to destroy all the demons is also described in Srimad Bhagavatam. So we'll discuss from question number 7 onwards in subsequent class. I also have a lot more other inquiries from previous classes, which I will answer as we progress. So populate the revision document, accept and follow the YouTube notification that you get. And we will continue from our next class. Are we okay to stop here?
Yes, Prabhuji. Once again, thank you so much, Prabhuji, for the YouTube.
All glories are always of Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, everybody.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.